I used to believe that when trust breaks, it snaps. Like a twig in your hand. Sudden, loud, clean. But that's not how it happened for me. No, mine unraveled quietly. Thread by thread. Like a rope fraying under too much weight, long before it ever gives. It started small. Doesn't it always? Jenna had been working long hours, and I supported it. She was passionate about her job, operations at a mid-sized marketing firm. She'd climbed the ladder there, I knew it. So when she started bringing her laptop into bed at night, I didn't question it. I just kissed her temple, turned off my lamp, and let her type. Sometimes I'd wake in the middle of the night and catch the soft glow of her screen casting silver across our sheets. Her face bathed in blue light, eyes darting as she typed with speed and precision. I figured she was replying to overseas clients or cleaning up some campaign deck. Work emails, she said when I asked. Every time. He's just helping with work emails. The he was a new hire, Ethan. Young, tech-savvy, apparently a genius with automation and workflows. She mentioned him like he was a background character. The kind of guy who explained spam filters to boomers and ran team-building trivia nights. Non-threatening. Just a guy from work. So I believed her. I wish I could say I was suspicious from the start, that I sensed something off in her tone or her eyes. But the truth is, I was distracted. Caught up in launching a second location for my hardware store. I was gone before sunrise most mornings and came home wired from caffeine and stress. We'd sit on the couch, half a glass of wine between us, and say maybe 5 words before bed. Somewhere in that quiet, she changed. Not all at once. Subtly, like shadows shifting with the setting sun. She stopped asking about my day. Started locking her phone. Switched her password on the laptop. Little things. The kind of things you explain away. I did. God, I did. I blamed myself. Thought maybe I was the one fading. That maybe I'd made our marriage too routine, too predictable. I told myself she needed space. I even offered it. Booked her a weekend retreat once, just so she could reset. She came back rested. Sweeter, even. For about a day. Then it was back to those midnight screen glows and soft clicks of the keyboard beside me. It was early October when something shifted. She was smiling more than usual, texting often, laughing at her screen in that way you don't laugh at a spreadsheet. I walked into the kitchen one night and caught a glimpse of her phone as she set it down on the counter. Just a flash. A message preview. Midnight at the park again? It was from Ethan. My chest went tight, but I didn't say anything. I waited until she went to bed, and then, for the first time in our 10-year marriage, I went through her phone. She'd changed her passcode. I stood there for 15 minutes, just staring at the screen. That stupid glow. It felt like the light itself was mocking me. I don't know how long I stayed up that night, sitting in the dark living room with her phone beside me like some cursed object. I couldn't crack the code. Couldn't ask. Couldn't sleep. The next day, I installed an app on our shared tablet, one that mirrored her phone notifications. It was a move I hated myself for even as I did it. But I needed to know. And that's how I saw it. Message after message. Not graphic, not overt, but intimate. Familiar. The way someone speaks when they don't have to explain themselves anymore. They talked about work, sure, but mixed in were little things. Inside jokes. Song lyrics. A reference to last time. One message, just 3 words, still thinking about you. That was when the rope frayed a little more. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I needed to be sure. Needed more than just implications and gut feelings. I needed something real. So I started watching her closer. Not accusing, just noticing. On Thursday night, she said she had a work crisis and had to go into the office. At 10:45 p.m. I said, "Want me to drive you?" She smiled. "No, it's fine. It's just Ethan and me handling a last-minute campaign upload." Ethan? She didn't flinch. Yeah, he's good under pressure. I stood there in the kitchen with my mug half raised and my pulse thudding in my ears. "You two work late a lot, huh?" She shrugged, like it was nothing. "He's just helping with emails." That line. Again. And that's when I decided I'd follow her. I waited 20 minutes, then got in my car and trailed hers at a distance. She didn't drive toward her office. She didn't even take the freeway. She drove to the far side of town, near the old botanical gardens, closed at night, but popular with late-night walkers. She parked, got out, and he was already there. They didn't kiss. Nothing dramatic. Just sat together on a bench like it was the most natural thing in the world. Like this was their rhythm. I didn't get out of my car. I didn't storm up or shout. I just sat there, staring at the soft yellow glow of the park's lone lamppost lighting up the two of them. Her smile, his hand brushing against hers like they'd done this 100 times. I don't remember driving home. Just remember lying in bed later, watching her come back in, quiet and careful not to wake me. She climbed in like nothing happened, rolled away from me, phone in hand. And there it was again, the glow of her screen, lit up like truth. The next morning, I watched her stir cream into her coffee like nothing had changed. Like we hadn't stood a few feet apart in the same bed hours earlier, her wrapped in the comfort of secrets and me choking on them. "You sleep okay?" she asked, voice casual. Yeah, I lied. She kissed my cheek like she always did, warm lips on cold skin, and walked out the door in her tailored coat and smile. I sat there long after the door closed, holding my coffee until it went lukewarm, replaying every second of what I'd seen the night before. I didn't want to be the guy who went through his wife's messages. I didn't want to be the one who followed her to a park at midnight. But here I was, becoming him, slowly, quietly, and yet, still I hadn't confronted her. I told myself I needed more. But if I'm honest, I think I was afraid. Afraid of hearing it. Of having no more room for doubt. No more excuses to cling to. As long as it wasn't spoken, I could still pretend we were okay. That this was just a weird phase. A misunderstanding. I gave it 3 more days. On Sunday afternoon, she left her laptop open in the sunroom. Not suspiciously, not like a trap, just careless. She was upstairs on a call with her sister, laughing loud and free. And me? I was in the kitchen drying dishes when I heard a notification ping. I walked past the sunroom without thinking. Then slowed. Then stopped. The screen was still glowing. Outlook open. A thread of emails from Ethan. The subject line said, "You left this in my car." I didn't mean to click, but my hand moved before I could stop it. There were no pictures. No declarations of love. But there was an intimacy in the words that made my chest tighten. "I found your earring on the seat. You always leave little things behind. Can't stop thinking about last night. Let's not do the park again. It's too open. Maybe that hotel in Brighton? Like before." That was the one that did it. My hands clenched into fists so tight my nails dug into my palms. Brighton. That's where she said she was for a 2-day conference. That's the trip where she came home saying her client dinner ran late, and she forgot to bring me back that bottle of wine I liked. She hadn't even remembered to pretend. I closed the laptop gently. Too gently. Like if I made a sound, everything would collapse. I walked out to the garage and stood there in silence, staring at the tool bench like it could explain something to me. All I felt was a mix of nausea and clarity. That night, I sat across from her at dinner. She told me about a new project at work, about how her team was under pressure. She asked about my store expansion. I answered, but my voice felt like it belonged to someone else. She smiled, said we should take a trip soon. "We need to reconnect," she said. I nodded, and in that moment, I realized something. She still thought she could play both sides. I wasn't angry, not like I expected. I wasn't shaking or shouting or picturing revenge. I just felt empty, like someone had opened a door inside me and everything had spilled out without making a sound. So I made a decision. The next morning, after she left for work, I called in sick. Then I called a lawyer. I didn't want to destroy her. That's not what this was. I just wanted the truth. I wanted freedom, and I wanted to do it without losing myself. I spent that week collecting everything. Bank statements, phone records, dates, locations. I didn't confront her because I wasn't looking for a confession. I was building something she couldn't talk her way out of. But what I didn't expect was the email that came on Thursday. It was from Ethan, sent to her work email. And because her laptop was synced to the tablet, still quietly mirroring her messages, I saw it. It wasn't flirtatious. Not this time. "We need to talk. I'm not okay with sneaking around like this. Last night you said this was just until you figured things out with him. I'm not your secret anymore." It was like watching the curtain fall. Suddenly, all the pieces were there. The park, the late-night emails, the hotel, and now this. He wasn't a fling. He was waiting for her to choose. He thought there was a future. I looked at the date. It was their anniversary. I didn't even know they had one. That night, I came home with 2 manila envelopes. One for her, one for me. Inside were photos, logs, a timeline. Not revenge, just truth, printed in black and white. She was in the shower when I placed the envelope on her nightstand. When she stepped out, towel wrapped tight, her eyes met mine. And for the first time in months, she looked unsure. "What's this?" she asked. I didn't answer. I just said, You said he was just helping with emails. Then I left the room and waited. I sat outside on the porch, listening to the wind sift through the trees, the way it always did in late October. I remember thinking how ordinary the night was. No storm, no lightning crack to announce the collapse of a marriage. Just silence, just stillness. She came out a few minutes later, barefoot, envelope still in hand, her hair damp and clinging to her shoulders. Her eyes found me, but she didn't sit. You went through my emails, she said low. You lied, I said softer. A long pause stretched between us. Then she looked down at the manila folder and whispered, So that's it then? I didn't answer right away. Because the truth is, I wasn't sure. Part of me still wanted her to fight for us. To fall to her knees and beg and promise and cry. But she didn't. She just stood there, bare feet on cold wood, her face a mixture of shame and pride, like someone torn between two stories, hers and mine. I never meant to hurt you, she said eventually. And God help me, I believed her. I think some part of her never did. But intention doesn't erase consequence. And secrets have a way of hollowing out the ground beneath you until one day you fall straight through. I asked you once, I said, point blank. You told me he was just helping with emails. I know. Then why meet at midnight? She didn't answer. Instead, she sat on the steps, a few feet away, and stared out at the yard like the answer might be hidden in the way the shadows fell across the grass. I didn't plan it, she said finally. It just happened. I didn't know how to stop. I nodded. You didn't want to stop. That one hit. I saw it in the way her shoulders tensed, the way her lips parted but no words came. For the first time, she didn't argue, didn't deny. That silence, it said more than any defense ever could. I felt invisible, she said after a while. Like we stopped being us. Like we were just surviving next to each other. I could have snapped back, told her I was working my hands raw to keep things afloat, that I brought her coffee every morning even when she forgot to say thank you, that I still remembered the name of her favorite author, the one she stopped reading because life got too busy. But I didn't say any of that, because in my heart, I knew she wasn't completely wrong. We did lose something. Somewhere along the way, we traded late-night talks for TV reruns, exchanged connection for routine. And I didn't fight it hard enough. I let her drift. I let myself drift too. But I didn't lie. And I didn't cheat. And that difference mattered. What happens now? She asked quietly. I turned to look at her, the woman I once believed would hold my hand through everything. The years, the storms, the quiet deaths of routine. I don't know, I said honestly. We didn't speak much after that. She went inside. I stayed out until the cold finally drove me back in. She was asleep, or pretending to be, when I climbed into bed. The space between us felt miles wide. The next morning, I woke before dawn, packed a bag, and left a note. It wasn't dramatic. Just a few lines. I don't hate you. I just can't live in a home where truth has to be hunted. Take care of yourself. Be kind, even when it's inconvenient. I hope someday we both find peace, even if it's not together. I stayed with a friend that week. Called the lawyer again, this time to start the process. She never fought it, never begged, just sent a single message. I'm sorry I wasn't brave enough to tell you the truth first. I didn't respond. Some wounds aren't loud. They don't scream or bleed. They glow, quietly, like a screen in a dark room, revealing the truth we don't want to see but can't look away from. It's been 9 months. I moved to a small town 2 hours north. Opened a second store. I cook for myself now. Even learned how to make that mushroom risotto she used to love. I read more. I sleep better. Some nights, I still see her in dreams. Not the woman from the park bench, but the girl who once danced in our living room barefoot, laughing as if nothing could ever go wrong. I don't miss her the way I thought I would. I miss who we were, who I thought we were. But I don't regret walking away. Sometimes, survival means standing in the truth, even when it burns. Especially when it burns. And sometimes, the quietest betrayals, the ones that glow in the dark, are the ones that teach you how to finally see.